Leaders from Western Europe are warning Russia that it is facing one of the last chances to achieve peace in eastern Ukraine. Well, after a week of high-level talks in Moscow and Kiev, French President Hollande and German Chancellor Merkel are presenting Russian President Putin a new peace plan. Among other things, it calls for creating a demilitarized buffer to prevent more fighting between the rebels and government troops. The next step is a meeting Wednesday in Minsk, Belarus, with the leaders of Ukraine, France, Germany, and Russia. Meanwhile, there's been discussion in Washington about aiding the Kiev government by sending them advanced weapons systems. Well, Steve Acunto is with Consul Core College. Of course, he's a good friend to the show here. Steve, not all Western leaders are in favor of what's going on there, especially into providing sophisticated arms to Poroshenko. What is your belief to this?
Well, there's a lot of doubt on both sides. First, there's doubt about the soundness, particularly after the arrest last week, the soundness and the homogeneity of belief in the Ukrainian army. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, you have France that's got an enormous order pending for airplanes to the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. You have Angela Merkel, who is absolutely against arming anyone any further. You've got the United States, first of all, Kerry this week as a bad cop, talking a hard line, again, without specifying, talking a hard line against Russia. And you've got the United States Senate, basically the Republican wing, talking seriously. You've got John McCain really banging the drum. You know, I look back, before the show today, I look back at one of our interviews in August, just after I came back from Kiev. And I said to you that time is really on Vladimir Putin's side. So the compromises that keep going out, and the doubt and the wonder and all of that plays into the hand of someone who has a purposeful aggression.
But is time eroding, though, Steve, in a sense, on Putin here, with the sanctions ratcheting up here? His economy, the ruble, is at an all-time low, or at least record lows right now. His popularity surely has to change if the people over there in that country are suffering.
But, Julian, his popularity is not changing. We had a doctrine in the United States of manifest destiny, that there was a manifest destiny for this country to expand to the West. It was our turf. There is that same sense in Russia, that when you're talking about Ukraine, there is a sense that that's part of their manifest destiny, that they should have that. Meanwhile, you've got really serious activity in the Baltic states. The Baltic states are training and arming for some kind of fight. You have the two breakaway republics, one in Georgia, the other in Belarus, where they went through this already, and they're still broken away.
All right, so Steve, what you're basically saying here, Russia has a jingoistic agenda, an aggressive foreign policy based upon patriotism. And if that's the case, then I guess the popularity may not change, because people think that these satellite states that were part of the former Soviet Union, they want these states back.
No one's hitting Putin with reality. What they're hitting him with is talk. And frankly, as you know from the study of dictatorships, we've talked about it, you just can't talk. You have to have some set of actions. I think the concept that there would be an arming of troops, the concept that there would be a showdown for real with the United States, somehow or other, that's the only thing that I think is going to work. I hate to say it, it's sort of throwing in the towel on talks, but as good as the sanctions have been, and they really have been good, they've worked. Well, still, you have a very popular dictator.
Well, yeah, okay, I got to tell you, Steve, I hope you're wrong. In this
I do too.
Because we're talking about a military confrontation. Now, here's the deal, though. You've got this, and maybe it's nothing more than a photo op in your mind, with Merkel, Hollande, and Putin sitting down at the table here to talk. I mean, what do you expect anything to come out of these kinds of talks? Or is this just a photo op? Will there be
No, it's just kicking the can down the street, or whatever the expression is. And frankly, I think with Merkel, who everyone knows opposes military intervention, with Hollande, who has a big contract pending with Russia, with Putin, who's determined to have a land bridge all the way down to Crimea, there's no conversation. What's on the table? Is it, would you please stop? Is it, no, I don't want to? What's on the table, Julian?
So in other words, basically, okay, what's on the table right now is trying to keep Putin from getting what he wants, and apparently, maybe perhaps the Russian people. Here's the deal, quickly, and this will have to be the last answer here. If Putin does become more aggressive, if Russia becomes more aggressive, what do the Western allies, what can NATO actually do outside of, short of military options?
I don't think much. They could support a Ukrainian army that was supported concretely, not just with weapons, but supported with management, if you will, and intelligence to defend themselves. But that's not a solution. That's just another wall of defense behind another wall of defense, each of which has holes in it.
I don't know if I like what I'm hearing.
I don't like saying it, but it looks like what we're facing there.
All right. Steve Acunto, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Julian.
All right.